Word, son. What do you do, YouTube? It's your boy, Jay Divine. All right, man, before we get into this video, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread the links, because you know how I do. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon so you're notified every time I upload. Without further ado, let's get a bit to it. All right, man. It's been a while since we talked about Undisputed on this channel. It's been a pretty good minute, if you will. But I really feel like it's about that time we have that conversation. So if you haven't already, man, make sure you sit down, chill, take a pee break, pause the video, get you some popcorn, because you know how I do. Without further ado, let's get a bit to it. So I've been kind of in and out on Undisputed, not gonna lie to y'all. You know, I've tried to remain optimistic. I've tried to, you know, see things from a half full instead of a half empty perspective. And Undisputed, man, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand Undisputed. And I'll be the one to say that I genuinely don't get it. Because in this game, I understand that y'all try to take more of a simulation perspective on boxing. Not a problem. I'm cool with that. But the issue that I have with it is the line between simulation and arcade is starting to get blurred. Every time there's an update, when there's a new boxer that comes out, or say for example, you happen to add something new to a boxer that he didn't have previously, or you take something away from a boxer that he didn't have previously. The more and more that I see you guys add this stuff, I start to see that people find more and more ways to try to abuse what you guys haven't touched already. So I fought a guy, and one of the new fighters that they had was Tommy Morrison, one of the heavyweight fighters. And I think I had Deontay Wilder. Now, I believe this is either ranked or unranked, whichever the two, I forget. But I fought a guy who literally all he did was just threw body uppercuts. Just literally all he did, right-handed uppercuts to the body. That's all he did. He walked up with his guard up and just uppercuts to the body, every single time. And you may you may say to yourself that, oh, that's not bad. Just block to the body every time he tries to throw it. That raises my next question. What is considered a block? What's considered a block in this game? You know, there are so many times where I'll block a shot, and I understand that y'all have it to where, like, you may have your block up or you might have your guard up, whether it be to the body or to the head, but the guy's still going to happen to land the shot if he throws it in the right area, or if it happens to land in the right spot that you're not covering. So I understand that part. But at the same time, when I am blocking that shot, what is considered a block and what isn't? I've raised this same exact question inside of the Discord at least a few times in that Discord, and I always ask, you know, what is considered a block in this game? Because if I block up top, if I guard my head and a guy swings a shot at me in, at the head, if I got my guard up and I might be, moving or weaving out of the way, whatever the case is, the shot still comes through. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, the blocking isn't tight enough because it's still kind of loose to the point where shots can still come in, but it raises that question, what exactly is considered a block? Somebody said that there's a different audio cue to signify whether there's a block versus it not being blocked and it just lands flush or whatever the case is. But there have been times where I know I've blocked shots and I've said to myself, damn, that still landed, because my guy will react accordingly every time a shot would land. So like I said, if I got my guard up, I'm guarding my head, right? A shot will still land even though my guard is up. And I'm like, okay, damn, you landed that. But if a guy threw, like, let's say 700 punches, right? And it would say 300 of those punches were blocked. And I'm just like, how? Because a lot of them shots, my guy literally was reacting to, because I guess it slipped through, but the game calls it a block shot. So, like I said, what is considered a block in this game? I literally went back and started playing Fight Night. And I know I'm going backwards at this point because Undisputed is supposed to be the new boxing game. It's supposed to be out. But I had to go back and play Fight Night for a second. Now, granted that blocking in that game is light years behind, or is just behind what Undisputed is trying to do. Like, there are two different games to say the least. One that's going at a more simulation perspective. One that's going at a more, I don't want to say arcade, like Ready to Rumble, but it's kind of like teetering the line between a simulation and a kind of an arcade type thing. If I had to put a finger on it, I would say out of 100%, simulation would be maybe 75%. and then arcade will be like 25%. You know what I'm saying? Still somewhat of a good balance. You can't just spam. You still have to have somewhat of skill in order to play on fight night. So when I was playing that, and a lot of the shots that guys were throwing, even if we were up close and I happened to be, weaving around, moving my head around, trying to make sure that he didn't land that shot on me, there have been times where my guard will be up and he'll throw a shot and it's a hard shot, but because my guy's blocking is so fortified that it won't come through. You know what I'm saying? Now, is that realistic? You probably say it's not, because shots that are hard enough are still going to come through, blocked or not. But at the same time, if a guy's throwing a hook to my body and I'm blocking it, you understand what I'm saying? The game is going to make sure that it says, hey, that body shot was blocked. And you can tell, you know what I'm saying? You can tell when your guy is taking a shot and when he's not. You can tell, you know what I'm saying? You can hear when a guy is blocking a shot, and you can hear when a punch lands flush or it's snuck through or whatever. You can hear that. But see, on Undisputed, you can't really tell. You really, honest to God, cannot tell. You know what I mean? That's why I say, like, sometimes I'm so confused when I look at the punch stats, and if a guy threw, like I said, 700 something punches, and I see that out of that 700, maybe 300 of those shots were blocked, and I'm just like, how? You know what I mean? I'm literally looking, trying to figure out how was it that those many shots were blocked, but my guy kept reacting to a lot of the shots that what I thought slipped through. You know what I mean? So that confuses me. And then another thing that I don't like is, when it comes to bobbing and weaving and getting out of the way, it's very, very, very limited. You know what I'm saying? First of all, it's bad enough that these shots that these guys throw, whether it be hooks, uppercuts, they're very weird. They're very, very weird. Very weird. They're very unnatural. They look awkward. They look very unorthodox. Like these hooks, like when I see a guy throw a right hook, it's not a formed hook. It literally looks so awkward. I can't believe that none of that has been fixed yet. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a fighter that doesn't have a necessary, like, oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongues tied now, but even if it's a fighter that doesn't have a specific style, let's say if it's a generic style that he has, right? He's throwing a hook, he's throwing it so weird. Like, I've never seen anybody throw a hook like that on Undisputed, like I've seen on Fighting or in real life. I've never seen anybody throw a hook like that. You know what I'm saying? Let alone it come from behind the jab. Like, it don't matter how I throw it or how I set it up, the hook still looks weird. The uppercuts still look weird, no matter how I set it up. Whether I throw the uppercut from the first punch, or whether I throw a jab then uppercut, or I lead into it with the shot from wherever else. You know what I'm saying? But these punches still look weird. They still look weird. Why are these uppercuts so awkward looking? You know what I'm saying? You know, I used to hate when people said that this game looks like something out of a mobile game, or something that was made from PS2 and upscale to PS3. I used to hate when people say that. I used to hate that. Now I get it. I understand when people say that now. You know what I mean? Like, the more and more I play Undisputed, I start to see now why people are ragging on it so hard. Another thing, when it comes to bobbing and weaving out of the way, this game is very limited when it comes to that. It's very limited. You know, I was playing Fight Night, and I realized that a lot of the times when a guy's throwing a hook on Undisputed, like, I'll compare and contrast Fight Night and Undisputed for a second. When you look at Fight Night, and if a guy throws a hook, if you weave out of the way of that hook, you're going to be out of the way. There's been several times where I know I was way out of the way of a hook. I know I was way out of the way. Like, if my head is in front of him, he throws a hook and I lean out of the way in time, the shot still lands for some weird reason in this game. I don't know why the hitboxes are the way they are, and that's another problem. I don't know why the hitboxes are like that, but some of the times when I'm weaving out of the way and I know I'm out of the way, you still happen to make the shot land. I don't know how you guys do that. I don't understand it. Why is that when I'm trying to lean out of the way of something, you guys will completely limit me to the point where I can't even lean back enough to avoid that shot? Now, with those slipping and ducking mechanic, that itself is phony. Because there are times where I'll slip or duck out of the way of something, and somehow the shot is still on the money. Somehow. You know what I'm saying? If a guy's throwing a hook, right? Now, if I happen to just bob out of the way, or weave out of the way, not using the actual lean mechanic, but if I happen to lean out of the way, clicking the left stick back and lean out of the way, the shot somehow still lands. I don't understand how. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're trying to really get out of the way, you can't move the way you want because it seems like there's limited range of motion when it's time to, like, you know, lean out of the way or whatever the case may be. There's no range of motion. It seems like you're so constricted and restricted to just that forward range of motion. That's the only way that you can move. There is no way of actually sliding and stepping out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to lean out of the way from a shot that you know he's getting ready to throw, you can't do it. He won't lean back all the way. It's not in it, and it's not even on like some, oh, you're against the ropes, so that's why you're limited. No, because even then on fight night, when you're against the ropes, they know you can't lean out of the way. They know that. They've seen that several times before. So when you're against the ropes, yes, you're going to be limited. But when it's time to actually weave out of the way, when it's actually time to get out of the way, your guy's going to do everything he can to get out of that range of motion when he's swinging that hook or whatever shot that he's throwing. They're going to do that. But on Undisputed, you're limited. That range of motion is so limited. Now, another thing I want to talk about, the counterpunching. The counterpunching in this game is just very, and I mean very unreliable. There have been times where I've had matches where I've thrown counterpunches after another. You know what I'm saying? Whether it might be a guy throwing a shot, I land something back on him. I've done them like 5 in a row where it'll flash. You know, you can turn off and off the flashes, but anytime I land a counterpunch, it'll flash. So some of the times, there'll be times I'll throw counterpunches, and there might be 5 of them in a row that I might land on them. And either it be enough or it don't. But what I'm trying to say is there have been times where I'll back up, a guy throws a jab or he throws a shot, and it's not even all like, no, I avoided it from a weave or a bob or a duck. You know what I'm saying? Or from a block or nothing of that. Because I know that if he throws a shot and I'm backing out of the way, if I step back to him and I throw a jab, they're going to call that a counter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know like some of the times that I'll throw a counter punch, and this may be like, I'll say maybe 3 Mississippi. You count 3 Mississippi, the counter punching window still be wide open, and you can land something off of that. You know what I'm saying? And then there are times where I'll throw a shot and I know for a fact that it landed, or so I thought, if he got his block up, and I'll throw a jab and I see that it landed in there, they call that a counterpunch. They say that I quote unquote missed. You know what I'm saying? So the counterpunching logic just doesn't make sense. Guys have gotten some of the stupidest stuff on me, and I don't even understand how. Then there are times where, say for example, if I stun somebody, to me, when you're trying to finish somebody in this game, it's very much like a chore, because it's like the punches are already unnatural, right? So aside from that, you give more mobility to the guys who are rocked and trying to stay out of the way. You give them more mobility of staying out of the way versus somebody who's, one, trying to close the show, and then 2, at the same as that time, trying to throw punches to actually end the fight. You know what I mean? Throwing hooks, they're very weird. I've never seen hooks being thrown like that ever in my life. They look very, very awkward. They look very awkward, which is back to my original point earlier in the video. The punches look so weird. They look they look awkward. They look very unnatural. So when I'm trying to throw hooks and throw uppercuts and jabs and trying to close the show on a guy, it's hard for me to do that, because without having to spam a hook, because that's the only thing that I know will land at that time. You know what I'm saying? I can't just go up and hit him with a jab straight left hook, you know what I'm saying? Or a jab right hook, because I know it's going to sit him down. You know what I mean? I can't do that because of, one, how they got these punches thrown in the style and the pace that they have this boxing game set to. You know what I mean? Now, I know people sit there and say, oh, well, you're just complaining. You got to play differently. Fighting and Undisputed is 2 different totally games. I understand that. I get that part. I understand that completely. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to do something, do it right. Don't have it to where only certain areas are like blurry and there's certain areas that are clear. You have to have a fully fleshed out game. Now, I understand also that this game just came out in January. I get that. I understand that part. But however, it seems like every time there's an update, you guys take 1 step forward and 3 steps back. It seems like that every single time. Every single time there's a new update where you add in fighters, I don't care about the arenas, but when you add these new fighters, it seems like there was not enough time spent on bouncing these fighters out. Joe Calzaghe is one of the fighters that they just added, right? Alongside Tommy Morrison, and I think there's one other fighter. But Joe Calzaghe, people are already talking about he needs to be nerfed because he's already throwing like 1,000-something odd punches and he's barely tiring out. Tommy Morrison, he's another one which I've come across in my first fight against him. I noticed that all guys literally got to do is literally just walk up and just throw body uppercuts the entire fight. Just body uppercuts. You can block it all you want, but knowing this game, shots are still going to come through. Regardless of how well you block it, no matter how well you time it, you trying to step out of the way, you're not going to be able to stop it. You're just not. And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that when I'm blocking the body or I'm trying to block something, you guys don't give us enough indication to say that, hey, this was a block shot. Hey, great block on that shot. You don't give us that indication. Guys will still react. I'll still see ripples coming from out of the body. I'll still see my guy wincing from the shot. I'll still see my guy turning his head, twisting his neck every single time it lands. I'll see his face ripple every single time that a shot lands, even when my block is up. So I don't understand this game. I don't understand it. I don't get it. If I get rocked, there's still stun rocks sometimes. Or say, for example, like if I'm fighting a guy, right, we going back and forth, I'm getting the better of him. Some weird reason, I land a shot on him, I get stunned. He didn't even touch me. For some weird reason, a guy would throw a shot and I get stunned. And all of a sudden now I'm rocked. Now I'm the next one that's got to hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't say ghost stuns are gone. You know, it's probably still remnants of it. But for the most part, I haven't seen them anymore. But just this game, I don't understand it. And I get that it's early access, but it's like, come on, man. This overly optimistic attitude about this game because it's a new boxing game, I'm sick of it. It is literally like cancer. It is literally like cancer and it spreads. I can't stand it. I had a guy that I fought, right? And this right here was in the line for me. I fought a guy and it was going out to like the wire. And it was one of those things where I think I was down one on the cards, and it got to like the last round. He dropped me, and then I dropped him. If I'm not mistaken, if not once, then twice. I got to the point where I was literally stealing the fight from him. I knew I stole it from him. Because of that, because of how this game is like the foundation of this game, and since they don't have everything tightened up like they're supposed to, the guy literally glitched. He literally glitched the game up. So the part where it's supposed to go to the part where, like, you know, you see who's supposed to be the winner of the match, and you got both fighters standing there, the screen wipe goes across and then it shows the two fighters standing there. Before it even gets to the point of who won, before they raise their hand, another screen wipe came over and it's stuck there. Mind you, I can't quit, I can't surrender. Only thing I can do is Alt F4 and just get out of there. That's the only thing that I can do. And he did that. The guy who I fought did that. It's stuff like this that annoys me. It bothers me, bro. I can no longer put any more time into Undisputed until this game gets to a point where now everybody can enjoy it. Now there's a learning curve. Now if you play like you haven't played a boxing game, you will get washed. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand these different fighters and not just have the it fighter because he doesn't have a tax on stamina, so you can go as long as you want with him, or he's known to be a powerful puncher, and if you land this shot on him and that's it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the learning curve, if you don't understand the boxer, the fighter himself, if you fight like you never played a boxing game, you will get left behind. And I'm not talking about just the cheap, cheesy tactics. I'm not talking about that. The cheap cheesers, the ones that cheese all day long, those are the ones that will literally get left in the dust. When it gets to that point, then maybe I'll pick it up. But however, the things I just named off, those are the things that need to be fixed before Undisputed can even be in the same category as Fight Night Champion. Because right now, this very moment, it's not looking too good. And I know it's funny because a couple months ago, I was advocating for this game. I was pushing hard for it. I was trying to say, you know, hey, this is going to be the new boxing game. Fight Night is in trouble, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm changing my stance on that. And I'm standing on it. Because this game is literally getting to a point where it's like now, you know, I don't know what you guys are trying to do. I really don't know. You know, I could care less about the top 5, top 10 knockouts of the week. I could care less about that, to be honest with you. And people keep talking about, oh, push it to console. When's this coming out? When's it coming to console? Stop rushing it. Just wait until it comes to console. Because right now, if you play it right now on PC, I guarantee you, once all that nostalgia and that excitement and the happiness of another boxing game, brand new boxing game being out, once that leaves, you're going to get to the point where I'm at. If not lower than that. Because you're going to see the inconsistencies of this game versus other boxing games that you know, which, you know, like I said, i.e. either Fight Night Round 4 or Fight Night Champion. Like, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see. But as of right now, I don't understand Undisputed. And I'm going to put it down until, I don't know, maybe sometime in the fall, maybe. I don't know. But this game it's not where it needs to be. This studio, I'm trying to, like, you know, fight for y'all and root for y'all, but right now y'all are down bad. Y'all are down really bad, and I can't rock with this game anymore. I just can't. I know it's early access, but the updates you guys are doing it's not helping the game progress. You're adding content to the game with these fighters in these new arenas, but as far as like gameplay wise, you're not doing anything. You're not. The best thing that I said that you guys might have added was changing the whole left, center, right on the head and the body. You just made it all into one category for head and the body health. That's probably the one thing I could say that you guys have done. But as far as like the punch animations with the uppercuts and the hooks and the bobbing and weaving and the slipping mechanic, which that for some weird reason still doesn't have stamina attacks on it. That slipping mechanic and trying to weave out of the way, and like I said, the punch animations and trying to really be fluid with the foot movement and stuff like that, trying to get out of the way, and the blocking, all these things I've mentioned, y'all still have not done anything to touch that up. Y'all haven't done anything to combat these cheaters. Y'all haven't done anything as far as that regard. So how can I sit here and go to bat for somebody that's really not even making any progress? Because that content and these boxes you're adding, you're not making progress. We want to see core gameplay updates. That's what we want to see. So until then, I'm not touching Undisputed. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'm going to get up out of here. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread the links, because you know how I do. I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy Jay Devon, and I'm signing out. Peace.